All right, thank you, Robin. And this is called the Commissioner Minute in the same way that Scoutmasters have a Scoutmaster Minute. So we'll see how many minutes it actually is. Good evening. It's once again a giant pleasure of mine to spend tonight with so many friends. This truly is a room, and this truly is an audience that I absolutely adore spending time with. So thank you all so much for coming tonight. I know that each of you has a significant part in keeping scouting alive in our district. And in my role as district commissioner, I get the opportunity to help out each one of the 421 registered adult leaders that make up our scouting community here in San Francisco. It's truly the best scout job I've ever had, so I'm reluctant to give it up. Don't tell anyone. Each of us that has worn the uniform or helped someone else to wear it, but knows that most importantly, each one of us carries the values that it represents. Last year, I stood on this stage and told you why I wanted to live in a world with more scouts in it. And I'm so happy that that world has come to pass. We have more scouts in our district this year than we did last year. Tonight, I'm going to share with you a couple of snapshots, a couple of little stories about what it's like to move through the world as a scout these days and how scouting is perceived, at least in the people that I talk to. You know, many years ago, the first story, many years ago, I was driving back up to Humboldt County where I grew up, and it was late one night, it was a winter night, it was just above freezing, it was one of those cold, crisp fall nights, and the moon was out, and I drove around a corner, and I saw a little glimpse of something on the pavement ahead, and I said, this is a bit odd, this is not quite cold enough to be ice, what is this? And I realized very quickly that those were little shards of glass from the car that had smashed and was over on the side of the road just ahead. So I asked my passenger if it was okay. They said it was fine. So I pulled over and helped to assess the mother and two daughters whose car had actually run into a bear. So I'm going to talk about a strange accident. The bear was still there, a little bit alarmingly. But in talking with them, I assessed their situation, determined that they did need some medical assistance, called 911, relayed the location, the state of the condition of the car and the patients to the operator. And the operator said, you know, that was really clear information. Are you a law enforcement officer? And I said, no, but I am a scout. She said, oh, well, that makes sense. Maybe a little bit less dramatic story. I was at the doctor's office a few weeks ago, and they handed me one of those impossible to tie gowns. Those of us who are adults in the room know exactly what I'm talking about. They are literally the most cursed things in the world. They're impossible to tie behind your back. But somehow I managed it. So when the doctor walked in, the doctor remarked, she said, you know, it's unusual to see someone who's actually managed to tie one of those things. How did you do that? And I said, well, I'm a scout. She said, that explains it. My very first job interview after college was with SBC, now part of AT&T, the phone company. And I was super nervous going into this interview. And I sat down with the manager, the hiring manager, and he looked over my resume and he said, you know, you've got a lot of skills here. You do a lot of organizational things for it. At the time I was 19, for a 19-year-old. And he said, where did you learn all these skills? And I said, well, you know, I'm a scout. He said, I was also a scout. I understand exactly what you mean. One day I was over here in the Tenderloin, not too far from here actually, a couple blocks. And I was walking back to the BART station, and I came across some tourists who were looking a little bit extra frazzled. It was one of those warm summer days. Everyone's sweating. It was few sweaty days in San Francisco. They were a little bit stressed out, a little bit sweaty, and it looked like they were pretty lost, like they didn't really belong in the Tenderloin. So I stopped and asked them what help they might need, if they needed directions, or if I could help them in any way. And they said, yes, can you help us? And I gave them directions and got them on their way. And I don't know what they had learned about America, but they insisted on tipping me. I said, it's okay, I don't need a tip, I'm fine. They said, no, we read that you're supposed to tip in America. So I said, it's okay, it's all right, I'm a scout. And they said, oh, we have those too. And so, well, I'm a scout. In college, I was known for dragging my friends, and actually Brian is here tonight, one of my college friends. I was known for dragging my friends on campouts, no matter what the weather was like. So in Troop 88, they refer to this as Type 3 fun. It is the wet, cold, and not exactly restful kind of campout that you might encounter in the winter in California. The wind was conspiring with the rain to make it really difficult to get a fire going. But somehow I managed to get it going, and one of my friends turned to me, one of my college friends turned to me and said, how on earth did you do that? And I said, well, I'm a scout. And that was the best answer I could possibly give. The next story, I will try to get through this without crying, but I don't tell the story very often. But when I was in elementary school, like a lot of elementary school playgrounds, the playground was divided. There was a part of the playground that as a youth you went to, as a young kid you went to, and there was a part of the playground you did not go to, because that's where the older kids hung out. And unless you wanted to get harassed by the older kids, you stayed well away from that side of the playground. Well, one day I made the mistake of crossing that invisible line, and sure enough, it wasn't long before one of the older kids came over and started bothering me. Suddenly another kid appeared and told the other kid to scram, and since this new kid was bigger than the one who was bullying me, the bully backed off and ran off. I looked up at this kid and I said, "Why did you help me? Like, I don't know you, like, why did you help me?" And the kid said, "Well, I'm a scout." All these stories might share the same refrain, which is that I'm a scout. And those words, that claim, they carry so much weight because they're shorthand for so many things. It tells people that I'm someone you can trust. It tells people I'm someone that will hold myself accountable. It tells people that I'm capable beyond my years. It tells people that I'm determined to keep learning and that I'm interested in being part of a team. It tells people that I care about helping others, even at my own risk, and I don't expect anything in return. I'm going to read that one more time because I think it's really impactful. When we say, well, I'm a scout, it means that it tells people that I'm someone you can trust. It means that I'm someone who will hold myself accountable. It means that I am capable beyond my years. It means that I am determined to keep learning. It means that I care about helping others, even at my own risk, and I don't expect anything in return. As we enter now the 5th year in welcoming girls into our Cub Scouts and Scouts BSA programs, let us celebrate the power of those words and those values. The Scout oath and law aren't just words that we recite, they are promises that we make and that we keep. And inclusion is at the heart of those promises. When we open our doors wider, we strengthen our organization and we strengthen ourselves. By welcoming everyone who wants to stand for honesty and kindness and service, we honor the very core of Scouting, and we make Scouting better. Everyone should be given the opportunity to say, well, I'm a Scout. So tonight, as we recognize each other's achievements, let us also remember the deeper meaning behind that simple declaration, well, I'm a Scout. May we all continue to live by that standard and inspire new generations to say it proudly, knowing that there is so much more meaning in those 4 words. Thank you, and I look forward to enjoying tonight with all of you.